Greetings, Mavericks and new viewers. Tonight, direct and live from the Maverick News Network World Studios. This is Maverick News with Rick Walker.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Rick Walker. Welcome back to the Maverick News channel. Hello, Maverick family. The encampment at McGill, new developments there. Breaking news from McGill University tonight. We'll tell you what's going on. Things have ramped up. More concerns about foreign interference in Canadian politics. It's becoming one of the main issues heading into the next election. Steve Bannon, ordered to report to jail July 1st. We'll tell you why. A lot of concerns as the war of words between Putin and the West heats up. People worried that it may be an escalation toward an actual kinetic third world war and possibly a nuclear war. It's beyond scary, and you have to sort of just put it out of your mind and go on with your day and pretend that everything is normal, I guess. But that is what's going on. D-Day celebrations, or maybe memorials, events, maybe a better way to phrase it. We have clips from Donald Trump speaking to veterans from Trump Force One. We have Trudeau speaking. We have Biden shuffling about, looking dazed and confused. Yeah, and what else can I tell you? All that happening as Trudeau continues to sink in the polls. A new poll out shows that Canadians are overwhelmingly in favor of having him step aside. So don't go away. Stay with me. We have all that and more coming up right here on the Maverick News channel.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are Maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals. Defenders of individual rights and freedoms. Credible. Trusted. Grounded in reality. Maverick News. Maverick News. Defending free speech. Free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Things are getting hot over at McGill University. We're seeing tonight that the encampment has taken on a new flavor. We have protesters, pro-Palestinian protesters, who have now moved in and barricaded themselves in the administration building, where they had a bit of a confrontation with police. We have a little bit of video out of there tonight. Let's take you to McGill and show you this clip.
Advance! We will not stop, we will not rest this close! Advance! We will not stop, we will not rest this close! Advance! We will not stop, we will not rest this close! not stop, we will not rest.
Disclose.
Hey! Fucking asshole! You're a little sucker, man! Take up your order! Fucking asshole! Move back! Get the fuck out! Move back! Fucking asshole! Move back! Fuck!
So I believe Dragon is on scene out there tonight, and he'll be feeding us a little bit of information, I think, from time to time as the broadcast continues this evening. Here we have some additional video showing the protesters inside the administration building, which they are now occupying. And let's take a look here. A little bit of video from the scene, and we'll have Dragon on in just a moment. So that's what's going on there, and let's go live now to Dragon on scene. There he is. Dragon, how are you? Everything okay there?
Yep, I'm doing great, sir. How are you?
I'm just fine. I appreciate you giving us this live feed tonight. A lot of new developments there. I'm going to throw it over to you. Can you just describe what you're seeing there on scene tonight at McGill University?
Well, I just arrived on scene a moment ago, and there's a lot of people that are chanting "Shame on you" on the police. And there's a lot of noise, as you can hear.
Yes. A lot more activity there tonight than there has been some of the other evenings in the last week. So things have escalated a bit.
Oh, by the way, sorry, I can hear you because there's some people who's speaking about Zionists in my bag, so it's kind of weird. So I'm sorry. Okay.
That's okay. So yeah, there seems to be quite a crowd. How big is the crowd there, and what are they doing?
They're protesting a lot and loud, actually, and I don't know actually if it's taking over of the building, but they're not usually here, and for some reason, as you can see, they're pretty much around here doing there's police on the back, as you can see. Yeah. And I think they will come in soon. They are gear up for they all gear up to get inside, so. And there's some police right behind me. I just didn't see them, but you know what? I'm gonna go on the other side of the police because I don't want to be in the between of a crossfire, if you will.
Yeah, definitely don't want to get you caught in the net and taken into custody when you're just there observing and reporting, right? We don't want to get you into any trouble, so that's a good call. So yeah, we're seeing reports here that the protesters, some of them, a handful of them, have barricaded themselves inside the administration building at McGill University tonight. This happening just, recently, maybe even within the last hour and a half, I think. We've seen some new developments on that front.
Yeah, that was about 2 hours ago. Some people came inside that building, right behind me, right there. So, yeah,
Yeah, and
and
these
now they.
developments happening so fast that we didn't even have time to change the description in tonight's broadcast, so it's not even included in the headlines because this is fresh and breaking live tonight on the Scene with the Dragon.
And on my way, I went to just have a look to UCAM because it's basically on my way. And also, there's a emergency police tag and intervention there. So yeah, there's also probably some intervention going on at the moment at UCAM. But today, I've seen that they have removed the tent, so still some barricade, but probably a few people around there. I don't know, so I can confirm that one.
And of course, the demands similar here to what they are elsewhere on these other campuses, where they want disclosure and divestment from university funds into anything related to the military-industrial complex. I guess any weapons manufacturing, and I think they also don't want any investments with Israeli companies.
Yeah. Because as we know, we have a lot of, say, I will call that conflict of interest with the school investment and the arming or the army complex. So there's a lot of that.
Yeah, I don't know because we've seen some of these campuses, and I'm not sure what the McGill position is on this, but in some cases they're saying they don't even have these investments. And while the people are out front protesting, demanding that they divest, and I know that at least at a couple of these universities, they've come back and they've said, well, we don't have investments like that. So that's a little strange.
I'll try to get closer for you guys.
Okay.
I don't know if you can see that. So I don't know how that's going to end up, but the heat is growing up right now.
So I'm seeing information coming in here that indicates there may be between 50 and 60 protesters possibly in the building. Those are reports that we're getting fed in here, but we haven't confirmed that.
Oops.
And banners, as you saw on the windows of the administration building being flown, hanging outside, at least a few of the windows.
Yeah, you can see one behind me on my corner left, around here.
Yes.
It's more of a cardboard type of thing. Oh no, it's a piece of cloth. It's a piece of cloth.
Oh, they're cheering about something.
Yeah.
Sounds like.
The big group behind me is cheering up, and it's getting pretty loud. I don't know if they are going to be removed soon, or if the police gonna get in, anything of that nature. But might get soon. Kind of heated.
Any idea how many police officers are on site, and how are they equipped? How are they dressed, and so on?
Well, if I can probably show you these guys, there are probably like 10 police officers behind me, all geared up for anti-protest with the shield and the baton.
I see, but they're just kind of standing back, eh?
And that's the group where I came in from. You can see there's a bit of a police members in the back, but I cannot show you much from here except this.
So is that the extent of the number of police on scene? Is that as many as you've seen so far? About 10 or 12?
Yeah, there's probably like 20 members in that corner. 10 behind me. There's some others on Elmer Street behind me. So,
but based on the size of the crowd there, I wouldn't think that they have enough officers to effectively clear them out. Maybe they do. I don't know. It seems like the police are fairly outnumbered. I'm not sure that it would be an effective operation if they tried to do anything.
Yeah,
other than
well,
keep the peace.
the way I see it is that they are really well organized, as usual. Police of Montreal is well organized. They have some good tools, and because the thing is that, look, behind me, it's a downward terrain, and there's the crowd down there. So, in that direction, they are on a flat bed, if you will. So, I think as a strategic way, they probably outnumbered, but the terrain will play on their favor. And also, it's really rainy. It's slippery, so that also might affect their movement on the protester side.
Interesting. So I'm not exactly sure what it was that kind of got things going, but it looks like there may have been something, some sort of organization behind this. And I'll bring it up on screen here. It looks like there were some flyers or posters put up of some kind that I'm finding online here on X. Here we go. Let's take a look here and see what this says. Support rally. Students barricade entrances to the McGill Admin building. Escalate for Rafa. So that's what has been posted online. I don't know if there were other leaflets or but this is why you've got so many people out there tonight. They obviously have they organized this thing and encouraged people to come out.
Yeah, that's my assessment too. And it's a really well organized group, because I'm trying for the last months, as you know, to get inside the organization in a way, or at least have a word, something, and nothing. It's complete lockdown on my side, so nobody wants to talk to Mavericks. It's kind of sad, and I think police starting to push a little bit.
Police are coming in?
No, but they're pushing. They're kind of just pushing the first line a little bit, because they are chanting loud, and that's the way Montreal goes normally. When we start to scream, that's because there's some hostility on one side.
Right. Here's another part of that post online on X. It says, echoing actions across Turtle Island and responding to calls from the people of Gaza to escalate for Rafah, students successfully barricaded themselves inside the James administration building, forcefully claiming ownership over the space meant to represent us. As the Zionist forces massacre Palestinians in Rafah and to Jabalia, our administration continues to shamelessly fund genocide, ignoring the collective demands of the student body and the encampment. Until McGill cuts all financial and academic ties with the Zionist regime, students will carry out a forceful campaign of escalation. Long live the student intifada. So they are saying that they are, this is echoing actions across Turtle Island, which is all of North America, part of Central America, responding to calls from the people of Gaza to escalate for Rafah. Students have successfully barricaded themselves inside the James administration building, forcefully claiming ownership. So they're claiming ownership over the space meant to represent us. They're saying they own the university. They've claimed
and one of the group actually that is part of the protest, if you will, or the pro-Palestinian, is Intifada. So yeah. It's all postulated everywhere in Montreal around McGill and UQAM.
So this is the message that I've been telling people, that they've been trying to convey for quite some time, is that this is a claim of ownership. It's a land claim, essentially, that's what it is. This is a land claim dispute, ownership, and they're saying that they own it.
Now they are chanting solidarité. So basically, to solidarity.
So if they claim ownership of the land or the property there, then they would not recognize trespass notices. They would argue they can do whatever they want because they own it. They wouldn't recognize the legitimacy or the sovereignty of the state there and the legitimacy of police actions or any charges that would be leveled against them and so on for their occupation of the space. That would be my take on it.
Yeah, that's my take on it too. I totally agree, because right now what they were doing for the last month were sticking inside some perimeters which is public, and some people couldn't get into that part for some time, and now the chanting gets grower. We hear that it's a time to grab the land, stuff like that. I mean, it's pretty damning on their part.
Yes, and so as I've been saying for a long time, what we've been seeing going on in Gaza, these protests are not just about Gaza. This is a global movement. What we're seeing in Canada, these protests are directly related not just to Gaza, but to Canada, to the United States, to North America. This is an assertion that they actually own the land. So this is not really just Palestine. This is not about Palestinian protests. This is about First Nations, Indigenous land claim protests right here. And basically, I think what we're seeing here, Dragon, is, and this is my interpretation of what we just read on screen, is they're saying that they have ownership over Turtle Island, which is all of North America. They own the land, therefore they've claimed ownership of the university grounds.
Yeah, that's what it is. And basically, the way they say it, it's well, they are the future of our land, probably for one reason, sure, but not this way. I mean, you don't own the land; you live on it, and you are a part of the society. But that's all what it is.
So, I mean, this opens up the whole a much broader discussion beyond what's going on in the Middle East and in Gaza, for sure.
Yep.
And I don't know. I don't think the Canadians are clued in. They're not tuning in to what these protests are really about in the larger sense and the broader context.
No. There's a lot of, I mean, even myself, sometimes I stumble into the ideas, and, you know, I got to refer sometimes to my good friend Rick to get myself on the right line. So,
well, don't just follow me. Get lots of information, and I encourage everybody out there to go and get, as many perspectives and dig in and educate yourselves from a variety of sources, good sources. Don't just rely on what I'm saying. I'm just reading you what they've been saying, and I'm telling you what they've been saying for a long time. And while they're flying Palestinian flags there in the background, as Dragon is showing us, clearly these encampments are about more than just what's going on in Gaza.
Yeah, it's more important than what we think, and there's more that meet the eyes, like we say often. Yeah, and the other part is that, like you said, you need to look into every media's or every extension of the rhetorics on both sides to make yourself an educated reasoning behind the whole thing.
And as you illustrated in some of your previous visits to the campus there, it's clear that a lot of the people protesting are perpetual protesters who kind of go out to all of these, for a variety of different reasons. But you're dealing with people basically on the left of this political spectrum. You've got Antifa in there. You have communists in there. These are largely left-wing extreme political groups, like the communists. And as I say, Antifa, the very progressive, the very woke, which is a strange mix of political allies there that people can't really wrap their heads around. But we had a whole program on it here just the other night talking about exactly that.
Yesterday you did spoke about that, actually.
Yeah. So that's who
So
you're
as you
dealing
can
with
see,
here.
there's a big line. A big line. It's a line of about 20 person facing some police line here. So that's the other side of where I am at.
Right. And so
So
the immediate story here, of course, is this new escalation, and that's it. That's what they say they're going to do. Is they're going to continue to escalate. They're not interested in leaving. Is that fair? Do you think that's true?
yeah, they're not. They don't want to leave. They're pretty much grounded to stay here, and whatever it's gonna take. So if it takes force to remove them, I think this is where they are heading right now. And sadly, that's not what I wanted to see. I was hoping that Montreal was a open-minded and respectful, um, a respectful place to be sometimes. But I mean,
Yes.
well, you cannot always have beautiful days, and it's not always sunny in Montreal. As a as a pun intended, it's rainy today. So
My goodness. So serious escalation there. I'm not sure they have enough police to safely go in there and deal with this size of crowd tonight in a way that would keep the public safe. So I'm not sure, Dragon. Just my assessment based on the video you've shown us. I can't see police going in and taking any serious physical action here in the short term, unless you're. But what are you seeing? What do you think? Are you getting some indication or visual cues that maybe they're getting ready to do something other than line up there?
yeah, well, I would probably think that they are organized enough to be able to remove them, or at least make a hole into that. And at the point where it's going to become physical, they will have to remove themselves completely because of the legislator or the lawful extent of the thing. But I think they are getting in line and pushing around because the people are. Oh, we got the crowd coming in my back now. The people are kind of dispersing a little bit behind
Dispersing.
me. Yep. Oh, I think some people have received some mace.
Maybe just turn the camera so we can just
I don't know if you can see the
see.
guy is
Gonna
on his knee and receiving
pan down a little
waters.
bit. You're a little high in your framing.
Oh, they're coming in. They're coming in. I'm gonna remove myself from here because they're coming in.
Okay, and just try to get a wide shot or something so we can kind of see what's going on, but stay safe. Just get out of the line of fire. We don't want you caught up in that police
They're
net.
using bang grenade also. Oh, sorry, sir.
And we definitely don't want you caught up in this.
Well, I'm being safe, so
Good,
I
good.
think we're okay.
That's good.
I'm also having a shot of tear gas, I think, because my nose is kind of scruffy, but all good.
I'm going to just change the layout here a little bit so that you have more screen than I do.
Yeah. So as you can see, they are well equipped to get rid of the protest. Oh, they are down there also. You cannot see from the tree, but I'll try to get you a better view. So you got the police now removing them. Hope you see that well. Yeah, I'm hearing effing fascist around and such words. Oh, and they're coming behind me also. right in the middle of it. Je suis journaliste. Je suis journaliste, correct, guys. Thanks. I just told them I'm journalist, so the guy were looking at me, pass by. So, yeah. This is live, guys, in Montreal. You still there, Rick?
I'm still here, Dragon. I'm just giving you the full screen and just letting people see what you're doing because your perspective, your video is way more important than having me sit here on the screen with you. I'll pop in from moment to moment. I'm monitoring everything. I can hear you.
All right. So as you can see, they have dispersed the whole gang. I'm pretty much in the clear behind the police line, so nothing to fear for me, I think. There's other media behind me, so don't worry, guys. I'm at the right place. Nothing to fear about for my safety or else. So I'll pan in a little bit. So, yep. And this is the McBain building here. So, I think they are going to go down because if you noticed, down that direction in that little road, this is where the encampment is at the end of the road, and this is the well-known now Rodic entrance. So, and I'm gonna tell you, my nose is feeling itchy. So, and now what the police saying we're going to take them out. So the people inside the building. Okay. They are asking us to go somewhere else. So I'm gonna follow the line because if not, so they are asking me to circulate. So I will.
Sure. Yep. Yeah. Just
because I don't want to get in trouble here.
No, there's no need for that. You're doing a great job. Just stay safe. Stay safe.
Yeah, well,
there's no need.
Tell you what, it's the first time I'm doing this kind of event in that type of situation. And one, I like that first, and second, well, it's kind of, well, it takes a first in every life, I think.
A different kind of experience, isn't it?
It is. It is. You got to have some nerves, I think. So I think I'm clear of the problem here, or...
So how many did we saw a couple of people appear to fall? Was there very much interaction? Did the police have to engage with the protesters physically very much that you could see?
Oh yeah, they were pushing the protesters pretty hard at some point. Some has been fallen on the ground, received probably some peppers, because I've seen a few of them having their hand in their faces, kind of trying to take away the pepper.
So I see people walking the opposite direction from you now. Are they?
Yeah.
How are you? I guess you must be some distance now from where police are.
Yeah, I'm going toward the Rodrigue entrance, but there's a few people going back toward the police. So I think there's going to be a lot of confrontation tonight, because these people are going toward the police and screaming "Free Palestine."
All right. Can we kind of just hang here for a bit and
Sure.
just
I don't
see
mind
if,
at all.
yeah, as long as you're safe, stand back and try to get within at least an area where you can see what's going on with the police line.
So the police line were there. There's also down there another police line where there's protesters now gathering in front of the police line and being confrontational.
Well, it seems
So-
like maybe by taking over that building, the protesters have crossed a line that even the administration is not willing to tolerate.
Yeah, I think this is exactly what's going on. They have been fed up with what's going on, and you cannot take one building, basically, and that's nothing that you can do here. So yeah,
And how long has this encampment been there now? I think it's been about, what, 40 or 41 days? Is that about right?
about right. Yeah, since 29th of May, if my memory is correct, or the 28th. So that give you an idea that it's already been like a month and
In a bit.
a week. So
Wow. A lot going on there.
yeah,
Well, I'll tell you what, Dragon, I'll cut you loose for a few minutes. I'll cover some of the other news that's going on here. You're using Wi-Fi there, right?
yep.
Okay, so you can stay connected or whatever. I'll just kind of look in the background. You can just wander about, do your thing, figure out kind of what's going on, and we can dip back in and pick up the feed from you again, maybe in about 10 or 15 minutes.
Oops.
So we'll pick up your feed again in about 10 or 15 minutes. Is that okay?
That's good.
Check back in with you. Okay, let's take a little break here, folks. Dragon doing like fantastic work out there tonight on scene at McGill University, where pro-Palestinian protesters, and I would say, I don't know, like just there's a broader context to the protests there, where they are asserting ownership, claiming ownership of the property there as part of their protest to reclaim land back for all of Turtle Island as well. So there's that whole aspect to it. We'll check back in with him shortly from McGill, and I will return after this with today's top news stories.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay, so let's start digging into some of the headlines from today. Where should we begin? Well, D-Day. Biden, Trudeau speaking today. Biden delivered remarks on D-Day in Normandy. We'll go to his speech first of all, but then I'm going to show you a video of his dazed and confused moments, and there were a number of them before and after his speech at the D-Day events. Here we go.
The 6th of June, the general weighed the options and gave the order. At dawn, the Allies would strike. The great crusade to free Europe from tyranny would begin. That night, General Eisenhower drove to the English town of Newbury to visit paratroopers of the 101st Airborne. There were men from all over America. It was estimated that 80% of them would be killed within hours. That was the estimate. But they were brave, they were resolute, and they were ready. One soldier told General Eisenhower, quote, "Don't worry, sir. The 101st is on the job. Everything will be taken care of." That's what he said. And because of their courage and their resolve, because the courage and resolve of their allies, it was taken care of. From the sea and sky, nearly 160,000 Allied troops descended on Normandy. Many, to state the obvious, never came home. Many survived that longest day, kept on fighting for months until victory was finally won. And a few, a notable band of brothers, are here with us today. Kenneth Blaine Smith is here. On that day, under heavy artillery fire, he operated a rangefinder and radar on the first American ship to arrive at Normandy's coast, providing direct gunfire support for the Rangers scaling the cliffs of Pointe du Hoc on their daring mission to take out the German batteries. Bob Gibson is here. He landed on Utah Beach about 10 hours after the invasion began. Bullets flying everywhere, tracers lighting up the sky. Bob drove an M4 tractor with anti-aircraft gun mounted on top, providing critical protection for the infantry against the German Air Force. On that day, and for many days after, he continued. Ben Miller is here, a medic with the 82nd Airborne. At 3 a.m. on June 6th, he and 13 other medics flew over the channel in a rickety glider. Its wings were ripped off by giant poles that the Germans buried halfway in the ground to stop them from landing. They crashed, but they survived. And they did their duty, dragging injured soldiers to safety, treating wounds, saving lives while the battle raged. Every soldier who stormed the beach, who dropped by parachute or landed by glider, every sailor who manned the thousands of ships and landing craft, every aviator who destroyed German-controlled airfields, bridges, and railroads, all were backed by other brave Americans, including hundreds of thousands of people of color and women who courageously served despite unjust limitations on what they could do for their nation. Lewis Brown is here, part of the Red Ball Express, a truck convoy made up of mostly African-American drivers. They landed in Normandy in the wake of D-Day. They rushed supplies to the rapidly advancing front lines. Woody Woodhouse is here.
Macron.
Members of the legendary Tuskegee Airmen, who flew over 15,000 sorties during the war. Marjorie Stone is here. She enlisted in the women's branch of the Naval Reserve, became an aircraft mechanic, spent the war keeping American planes and pilots in the air. Theirs has always been the story of America. Just walk the rows of this cemetery as I have. Nearly 10,000 heroes buried side by side, officers and enlisted, immigrants and native-born, different races, different faiths, but all Americans. All served with honor when America and the world needed them most. Millions back home did their part as well. From coast to coast, Americans found countless ways to pitch in. They understood our democracy is only as strong as all of us make it together. The men who fought here became heroes, not because they were the strongest.
And with that, we will wrap that portion of this up. The other aspect to this, though, was Biden's performance off the stage as he was arriving, approaching the stage, and leaving the stage. And that left some people very concerned today as he shuffled about, looked dazed and confused. Gets out of the vehicle. He's looking, he can't figure out what the heck's going on. Here he is walking on, shuffling. And even here with Macron, he's bending down. He doesn't seem to know whether he's supposed to sit or stand. Can't figure it out. Gets back up. Not sure. At times freezing. Not a great performance for a world leader, and it doesn't instill a lot of confidence. Trudeau, meanwhile, over at Juno Beach. And we have, and I know a lot of you in the audience probably would prefer to not hear from him, but I'm going to give him a moment here because he does represent the country still. And here he is.
Of Canada.
Chers vétérans de la Seconde Guerre mondiale, Votre Altesse royale, Premier ministre Attal, Président Michel du Conseil européen, mes chers amis, c'est un grand honneur pour moi d'être ici avec vous aujourd'hui pour souligner.
Get you to a portion where you can understand. Here we go.
How fragile life is. So he's enjoying every second of it. He knows how fragile life is because while in combat, a grenade landed at his feet. He was only 21, and he said, "Not today." So he picked up the grenade and swiftly threw it back. Le sapeur Léopold Thibault, qui est aussi avec nous aujourd'hui, s'était enrôlé à Rimouski quand il avait un peu plus de 20 ans, en 1941. Il a servi en Grande-Bretagne, en France, en Belgique et en Hollande, où il a travaillé sur les ponts Bailey, des ponts préfabriqués portatifs pour permettre aux Alliés d'avancer plus rapidement.
Again, let me get you to the English portion. Just another brief clip from
Pour
this.
défendre nos libertés et se souvenir aussi des dangers et des horreurs de la guerre. Honorary Lieutenant General Richard Romer, who turned 100 this year, who is also with us today, is one of Canada's most decorated veterans. Over the decades, he's participated in and organized many commemoration events. In his words, the costly D-Day success at Juno Beach laid the unforeseeable foundation for the betterment of mankind. It is important for him that we never forget. So to General Romer, to Sergeant Armitage, who couldn't be here with us today, to able seaman Bill Cameron, who sadly passed away just last weekend. When I spoke with her a few days ago, his daughter Donna told me just how much he'd been looking forward to being here with all of you. His bags have been packed for weeks, and he was so proud to be coming back to Normandy. So for him, and for all the veterans, I can promise you that Canada and the world will keep commemorating this significant day for decades and generations to come. En plus de se remémorer vos histoires.
Okay. So obviously making reference to veterans who have been passing away. We are slowly losing touch with the past, losing touch with our history, the future generations. Given the current state of our education system, I fear for them, because as you're seeing on campus tonight at McGill, things are very unstable. And there is very little, if any, pride left in the nation. I'll be right back.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay, we're going to check back in with Dragon in just a moment. Before we do that, though, just another story related to what we just watched, and that is about Trudeau. A new survey, Nanos research survey, commissioned by CTV, indicates that a majority of Canadians would like to see Trudeau step down so that another leader could take the wheel for the Liberals heading into the next election. 56% of respondents indicate that they'd prefer the Liberals have someone other than Trudeau at the helm. 17% surveyed say they think Trudeau should stay on as Liberal leader, and 18% said they had no preference. So just another indication that Trudeau is on the ropes. His days are numbered. There is growing pressure from within the party itself to have him replaced, and there isn't much time for the Liberals to do that, but they could get it done and provide enough time for a change in leadership heading into the next election. Okay, let's go back to Dragon and see what's going on there. What's happening there, sir?
Well, there's a group that went on a walk, actually, on the Sherbrooke Street. And as I'm following them, they are getting around one of the building and probably getting inside the building, which I don't know, but sounds like either it's where they need to be going or they will be removed if it's unlawful entry.
So a group of protesters went for a bit of a march down a street. And what building is it? Do you know what building it is? They're trying to get into a building?
Yeah. Well, it's one of the McGill school or an elementary school next to McGill University. It's the Royal Victoria College building right here. I don't know if you can see it. It's right behind me right there. Sorry, it's a little bit foggy because kind of a lot of rain tonight.
Okay.
But so they were all around there, and now they are they have all entered either the building or went back home in a certain direction. There's a lot of police on the other side right there, as you can see. There's a lot of police, and it's kind of weird because there's two groups. There's this one group that came on that walk here, and there's still some part of the group at the campment. So I don't know what's going on, if there's some arrestation or anything, but from now there's no arrestation or police activities, if you will, of big envergure. It's not a big deal now. People has dispersed and kind of get back to control.
So did these protesters go into that other building? Are they occupying a second building now? Or are you
That's what
not
I'm
sure?
asking myself, because actually the police are getting, they are gathering in front of that building right now. So, yeah, they are gathering in front of the building, I think.
Wow. So that's a second building potentially involved in an occupation.
But I'm not sure. I'm not confirming yet. Probably they're still, they're just passing through that
Or maybe
that
just
street. But
maybe just some of them have gone in, or maybe you just went by it. We're not sure. Okay.
yeah, but they look like they are not gathering here. Okay, they're just circulating, but kind of on a slow pace. So that's why I was unsure if they were gathering in front of the building. No, they're gone now. So yeah.
Okay. So no occupation in a second building. All right.
That's confirmed. No occupation on any other building now.
Okay, the administration building, though, we do have reports and we've seen video that they did go in. They are staging or have been staging some sort of an occupation inside the administration building at McGill University tonight. A large crowd gathered there. Online posts encouraging people to come out there this evening. Dragon, jumping into action, heading on down to the campus and getting us this live coverage tonight. Can you show us any protesters? Can you maybe just turn the camera so we can kind of get a lay of the land instead of just
all right, now I'm walking on Sherbrooke Street, going toward the protest or the encampment, because right now it's clean around me. There's nobody much except bystander, but I'm getting really close, so we'll see what's going on the campus at the Roderick gate in a moment.
Okay. All right, I'm going to let you go for just a minute. I'm going to come back in about 5 minutes, okay?
Roger.
All right, we'll continue with the coverage from McGill Live with Dragon in about 5. And we'll touch on some of these other stories from today. Now, Biden also today talking about the use of American weapons by Ukraine to strike targets within Russia. Why is this happening? Because there was growing pressure from other NATO countries, which have given permission for Ukraine to do that, growing pressure on the U.S. to follow suit, because the assertion is that Russia has been launching rockets and missiles from positions inside Russia proper against targets in Ukraine, and without that permission, Ukraine was not able to strike back and hit those rocket launchers. So, or other key positions inside Russia. Now, those restrictions apparently have been lifted, and in this clip, you'll hear Biden acknowledge that indeed U.S. weapons are now being used to strike targets inside Russia, but only within, he says, about a 200-mile range.
For years, you've resisted the idea of American weapons being used for any sort of direct strike inside Russia. But we did witness this shift in recent days, authorizing American weapons for limited direct strikes. Are American weapons being used right now inside Russia?
They're authorized to be used in proximity to the border. We're not authorizing strikes 200 miles into Russia. We're not authorizing strikes on Moscow, on the Kremlin.
I know.
So, yeah, things are getting worse every day. I understand the logic, but I don't like the result. I don't like this at all, and I don't. I'm hearing different kinds of reports about what Putin is saying, how his messaging back on this is being characterized. It's being played a little bit different in Russia than it is here in the West. He did meet with journalists in a sort of a meeting to answer questions just ahead of the St. Petersburg Economic Summit, and he's warning that Moscow could arm countries with a view to attacking Western targets now, rattling the saber. Mixed messaging, I would say, coming out of Putin and Russia. But because of all the propaganda out there, it's difficult to really get a clear, accurate bead on exactly what he is saying. Because as I watch some coverage online, it's like, oh no, Putin does not won't use nuclear weapons. He's not escalating at things at all. He won't even strike NATO. But then when I listen to some of the other reports and even some of the words directly coming from Putin, I'm getting a bit of a different story. In that meeting with journalists prior to the economic summit, he definitely indicates that they're keeping all options open in terms of any kind of response that they feel might be needed against the West. Now, let me bring up this clip here. I've got, the highlights from his Q&A session with journalists ahead of the economic summit, and this was from yesterday. I'm going to play a little bit of this now for you. Here we go. So here he is sitting down, putting the earpiece in. He's going to listen and answer.
We believe that the final result doesn't matter for us. We will work with any president the American people will elect.
Talking about the election.
It is obvious all over the world that the prosecution of Donald Trump, especially in court on charges that arose on the basis of events that took place a year ago, without direct evidence, is simply the direct use of the judicial system in the course of internal political struggles. After the well-known court decision, where the jury returned a verdict of guilty, as we all know, everyone, Mr. Trump's rating increased, in my opinion, by 6%, and the donations to his campaign headquarters immediately increased. What does this mean? It means that people in the United States do not trust the judicial system that makes such decisions, but on the contrary, believe that they were made for political reasons. Now, oddly enough, in the sphere of international politics, in domestic politics, and in economic policy, today's administration is making one mistake after another, one after another. Sometimes you are even surprised when you look at what is happening. That's why we look at it from the outside. We have never interfered with internal political processes in the United States, and we do not intend to interfere. We are thinking that if they consider it possible to deliver such weapons to the combat zone, to launch strikes on our territory, and create problems for us, why don't we have the right to supply weapons of the same type to some regions of the world where they can be used to launch strikes on sensitive facilities of the countries that do it to Russia? The answer may be asymmetric. Of course, such actions will they have already reached the highest degree of degradation, but they will completely destroy international relations and undermine international security. And ultimately, if we see that these countries are being drawn into a war against us, and this is their direct involvement in the war against the Russian Federation, then we reserve the right to act the same way. In general, this is a path to very serious problems. As for the presence of advisors and instructors, there is nothing new. They are present in the Ukrainian territory. Unfortunately for them, they are having losses. I know it for sure. It's not done deliberately, but losses happen in the course of combat actions. But the US and the European countries prefer to cast a veil over it. As for what's happening in the United States, you all know very well what is happening there in the course of the internal political struggle. They are burning themselves from within. Their state, their political system, and I must say, whether it is pleasant or not, but also their imaginary leadership in the sphere of democracy. They are burning it right at the root. No one in the United States is interested in Ukraine. They are interested in the greatness of the United States, which is fighting not for Ukraine and not for the Ukrainian people, but for its own greatness, for its leadership in the world. And in no way do they want to allow any kind of success for Russia, precisely because they believe that in this case, the leadership of the United States will be damaged. This is the whole point of what the US is doing. When the first German tanks produced in Germany, appear on Ukrainian soil, it had already produced sort of a moral and ethical shock in Russia. Because the attitude towards the German Federal Republic and Russian society has always been very good, just very good. Now when they say that some missiles will appear that will strike targets on Russian territory, this of course completely destroys Russian-German relations. I can tell you exactly the numbers of people who are being held in captivity by both sides. Our soldiers and officers being held captive on the Ukrainian side amount to 1,348 people. 1,348 people. I know these numbers because we work with them every day. Just recently, there was an exchange of 75 people. 75 people were exchanged. It means the number of Ukrainian soldiers that we have is 6,465. According to our calculations, the Ukrainian army loses approximately 50,000 people per month, but these are both sanitary, injured soldiers, and irretrievable losses, both, although the ratio of irretrievable to sanitary is approximately 50-50. For some reason, they believe in the West that Russia will never use it. We have our nuclear doctrine. Look at what is written there. If somebody's action will threaten our sovereignty and territorial integrity, we consider it possible to use all means at our disposal. What should be done to stop combat actions in Ukraine? I can tell you as a representative of the US, the same I told President Biden. He sent me a letter some time ago. I replied to him in writing, if you want to stop combat actions in Ukraine, stop supplying weapons, and hostilities will end in 2, maximum 3 months.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Well, I would say that that is probably accurate. If the U.S. stops supplying weapons, then they'll leave Ukraine pretty much defenseless. In which case, yeah, things are going to end pretty quickly. If they don't have weapons to fight, the war is over. That's what I've been saying for a long time. The protests, a lot of what's going on here, the information war is designed to undermine support for funding. Eliminate the funding, eliminate the weapons, the war is over and in short order. So what he's saying is pretty accurate. Now, also, tonight we are seeing that Russia is sending ships to the Caribbean, and they're going to, I believe, dock some of these ships in Cuba. The Cuban Armed Forces have announced today that Russia will dock 3 naval vessels, including 1 nuclear-powered submarine at the port in Havana. That will happen next week. Meanwhile, U.S. intelligence officials assess that none of the vessels will be carrying nuclear weapons, or so they say, and the U.S. administration under Biden is dismissing the Russian movements as a messaging ploy in response to this U.S. assistance and this approval of use of U.S. weapons against Russian targets by Ukraine. So they say that the deployment is expected to be part of a larger Russian military exercise in the Caribbean over the coming weeks, involving both warships and aircraft. So what are they going to deploy? The main warship in the Russian deployment is the Admiral Gorshkov, a state-of-the-art frigate that is the lead ship in a new class of 6 combat vessels that Moscow has commissioned through to 2025. As I say, there will also be a nuclear-powered submarine as part of these drills. There's another ship, the Passion, is an oil tanker that is part of the Russian Navy's Arctic Fleet. Cuban authorities are saying that Moscow is also sending the Kazan, a Yasen-class nuclear-powered submarine, to Havana. So hopefully we don't have a situation where we've got a lot more escalation. All that being said, back to the D-Day situation, we're just going to go very briefly now to what Trump was doing today. This was his D-Day involvement on Trump Force One, where he spoke to veterans online.
Thank you for listening. Well, it's an honor to listen to you. It's a real honor. Go ahead, let me hear it. I have all the time you want. I hope you can hear me okay. Yes, we can hear you. And I think with the program, we'd like to say good night to you. Wish you well. Stay healthy.
So, yeah.
I think we're going to. And I want to thank you all, and I'll make you a deal. I'll see you in the White House in January, okay? You'll be my first group. I'll see you in the White House in January, okay?
All right, so that's what Trump was doing to mark D-Day today. And while that was going on, one of his key supporters over the long haul, Steve Bannon, has been ordered today to report to jail, believe it or not. I believe the date for him to appear in jail is July 1st. Let me just see if I can find you the info here. And we're going to go back to Dragon in just one moment. In fact, let's bring him up right now because I'm not sure exactly where we're at, but it looks like we might have some new developments there. So, how you doing there, Dragon?
Doing great. Actually, I'm on the lawn of the campus right next to the encampment, and there's a few people right there, and they're just gathering around, but there's nothing much. I mean, there's a lot of police, but nothing much going on. I don't think that there's going to be more confrontation for now, but
Okay.
let's see. I'm not sure.
All right, and
I can
see
hear
that
some chants pretty far away.
Yeah, I see mainstream media is beginning to catch up on the coverage here too. This was the scene just a short time ago as police were confronting protesters there and hitting them with mace and tear gas. And Dragon was bringing us live coverage from the scene there tonight.
I think they are marching back toward me because this is what I was hearing from behind, and there we go. They are coming back.
So the word is that it's the Solidarity for Palestinian Human Rights Group.
Yeah.
And they did enter the James administration building demanding McGill cut ties with what they're calling genocide. And then we have police in riot gear. As you saw, they confronted the crowd outside the building and fired tear gas to disperse the crowd. And the crowd reformed after the initial confrontation. They used tear gas smoke bombs about 40 minutes into the confrontation. And the group that leads this occupation say the university has, in their words, repressed every institutional channel through which they expressed the student will for a policy against genocide.
Whoops. Yep. This is what it is. Sorry, it's kind of sleepy.
They want the university to divest of all financial holdings and companies linked to Israel's war with Hamas.
Yeah. Well, yeah, basically it is, because of the investment of the universities and such. So now they're marching toward Sherbrooke Street.
Mm-hmm.
And Sherbrooke Street is one of the main streets in Montreal. So,
yeah. And so it's my understanding that they are still in that building, but they have signaled that they are not preventing anyone who might be in the building that's not a part of the protest. They're not preventing anyone from leaving the building tonight where the occupation is taking place.
Okay. So if they are not making sure that anyone can come in nor out, legally they have no bound in a way to do more than what they have already done. So, but that's my assessment.
Right.
I can be wrong there, but yeah, I can probably follow them a little bit. They're right behind me, and this is Sherbrooke Street, so you can see them leaving. You want me to follow them a little bit?
Sure, yeah.
That could be an interesting thing.
There, just
I'll try to turn my camera away like this, so you can all see.
If I'm reading this situation right, as you're shooting this video tonight, basically people are leaving the scene now. That police actions seem to have been successful, and they've basically broken this thing up, and people are leaving. Is that your take on it?
Yeah, I believe that police have kind of broken their forces in a way. As you can see, there's a lot of people, some bicycle coming. The cops on bicycles coming around. You got yeah, they're kind of breaking their line now, I think.
Yeah. So they're
and from what I heard from one of the policemen, they will probably go inside the campment probably and tear the whole thing down at some point. It's probably to be something to look forward in the days to come, or probably even the day.
Yeah. So they say that the protesters are indicating that they are prepared to continue escalating things. They're not content to sit back and wait. So
yeah, they are marching around the one of the main building, and kind of returning where we were earlier. You can see that well?
Yes, yeah, that's a good shot. Yeah, it gives us an indication. Good. It shows the crowd dispersing. Now, are you indicating that they are circling back and coming back onto campus in some way, or trying to get back in there? Or are these people leaving? They're trying to get back in.
Yeah, this is the campus. This is the campus territory, basically. So yeah, they're moving back toward the McBain building, but passing through the other street, because actually it's like a, how can I put that? There's the Roderick Street, the Roderick gate that is moving toward the McBain building. But as you can see, where's the light up there? That's cops on bikes. They are turning around actually on that one hallway, which goes directly to the McBain building. So we're gonna be on McBain building on my left in about 5 minutes.
Okay. Let's dip out of this. We'll come back to you again in about 4 or 5 minutes then, okay?
Cool.
All right. So, back to international news. Zelensky has been making the rounds. He's been traveling the world, shoring up support for Ukraine, the war effort there, and for this upcoming peace summit, which occurs June 15th to 16th. So far, 107 countries and international organizations will be attending. Canada will be there. Biden not going, at least that's the indication so far. Instead, Vice President Harris will be attending. Trudeau will be there. Some countries, including China, basically saying that the summit is something of a waste of time because Russia has not been invited. And while Russia has not been invited to the summit and has dismissed Ukraine's plan outright, the 107 other countries coming in seem to feel there's some value to it. I would say that what's really going on here is that it's not so much a peace summit to reach a peace deal. This is Ukraine trying to build international support for its position to maybe have a foundation or have all these countries sort of behind whatever Ukraine might be putting forward when they finally get to the table and start talking about some sort of peace deal. So this is still developing, and it's unfortunate that Russia has not been invited. Maybe if we could get them together, we could put an end to this conflict. But yeah, Zelensky out there, as I say, making the rounds. He just recently, for instance, went, and this has not really received much attention. He went to the Philippines, as an example, to work out some support there to get some resources and some support for things on a diplomatic level as well. Let me take a quick break. I'm going to come back. We're going to continue with our top news stories of the day, and we'll go back to Dragon Live in just a moment.
Maverick News. The world is watching.
So yeah, it isn't even clear yet if the Philippines will actually be attending that peace summit, but that's just an example of a country that Zelensky has been visiting to try to just build, I guess, a coalition, a group of allies, some strategy there on the diplomatic side. Maybe that's an indication that they're ready to get to a table and start talking peace. I don't know. All that going on while we see the U.S., NATO countries, and Russia all talking about maybe even using nuclear weapons makes me very, very, very worried. So let's get back to Bannon. Yeah, told to report to jail July 1st. Here's, we've got this outside the courthouse today with Steve Bannon. Very defiant. And then he's heckled by someone in the background here. Check it out.
Okay, thanks. I've got great lawyers, and we're going to go all the way to Supreme Court if we have to, but I want to say something specifically about the Justice Department. Merrick Garland, Lisa Monaco, the entire Justice Department, they're not going to shut up Trump. They're not going to shut up Navarro. They're not going to shut up Bannon, and they're certainly not going to shut up MAGA. If you look right here, you reporters, in the 2.5 or 3 years we've been here, look at the rise of MAGA, look at the rise of Donald Trump. If the election was held today, according to Harry Enton over at CNN, President Trump would win in a landslide. All of this, besides the major legal issues that have to be addressed, all of this is about one thing. This is about shutting down the MAGA movement, shutting down grassroots conservatives, shutting down President Trump. Not only are we winning, we are going to prevail, and every number and every poll shows that. There's nothing that can shut me up, and nothing that will shut me up. There's not a prison. There's not a prison built. There's not a prison built or a jail built that will ever shut me up. All victory to MAGA. We're going to win this. We're going to win at the Supreme Court. And more importantly, we're going to win on November 5th in an amazing landslide with the Senate, the House, and also Donald J. Trump back as President of the United States. Thank you very much.
Steve Bannon. Oh, and here, now here, as he's walking away, listen to the heckler in the background again. Now, get this portion of the clip and...
Lock him up! Lock them up!
Yeah, so a lot of polarization. This, of course, all about these charges of contempt of Congress. So this federal judge ordering Bannon to report to prison by July 1st. Basically granting the Justice Department's request that Bannon serve out his 4-month prison sentence while he pursues an appeal of his conviction. Wow. So, the judge, Carl Nichols, revoked Bannon's bail and said he could no longer conclude that Bannon's appeal raises substantial question of law after a 3-judge appeals court panel upheld the jury's conviction of Bannon on contempt of Congress charges. So this decision and this schedule gives Bannon's lawyers about a month now to appeal the decision to revoke his bail. The defense team for Bannon is also taking steps to appeal his conviction to the entire D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals. So he was found guilty on 2 counts of contempt of Congress in 2022. And why? Because he refused to comply with a subpoena from the House Select Committee that investigated the January 6th incident. And it has escalated from there. Politics? Oh yeah. Messy? Oh yeah. Democracy? Under fire. Let's go back to Dragon at McGill University. Okay, sir, what's going on? Give us the lay of the land.
Well, the crowd has been
Oops, we lost his feed. Hopefully he comes back on here. We'll keep the line open, try to get reestablished. Dragon still live, doing amazing work tonight. Live coverage of the encampment and the occupation, the escalation at McGill, and go ahead, you're back.
Yeah, sorry, we got some little technical problem because it's getting too wet. But yeah, they're still walking around, but there's a bit of dispersion. But
okay. Yeah, and the Wi-Fi is kind of cutting out wherever Dragon is there on campus at McGill University in Montreal tonight. But it does look like the crowd is dispersing. No serious injuries as police clashed with protesters. About 50 or 60 of them taking over the administration building. You're back. I can hear you now. You were cutting out again.
All right, so...
and we lost him, and he's coming back again, in and out. Now, Dragon, because your internet is cutting out and because the crowd is dispersing, I'm going to throw it to you for some final thoughts tonight, because we're going to wrap up the coverage there with you. So hopefully we can, and you're freezing again, so I hope we can get a concluding statement from Dragon on the scene there.
If you want to express your freedom of speech, do it in the right way and not in a rainy day like today.
Okay. Yes. Yeah, pick a nice, sunny, beautiful day to do it, not a rainy and day like this. Yeah.
I think my connection is getting better already, but it's crazy down here. I had to actually stop to following them for some point, but what I think is that now they are dispersing and they'll go back to where they came from, basically. Lack of better word, but yeah.
Okay. Well, sir, because they've basically dispersed and it looks like it's breaking up, and because of the hour that we're at, and because we also have a group Maverick News meeting coming up this evening behind the scenes, where we're just going to discuss some administrative things here, I'm going to cut you loose. And just before we do that, tell people how they can find you on social media on your other channels.
You can find me here on the One Rising Dragon on YouTube. Also, you can find me on Dragon on Facebook, and also the same name, the One Rising Dragon on X, formerly known as Twitter. So I will wish you a beautiful night, guys. Take care, think positive, and have some good time out there. You know, it's fun to have some good time outside. Catch you guys.
Outstanding. Thank you, sir. Dragon on the scene at McGill University tonight, doing a great job. So, let me see. I just don't want to miss any of the important stories from today. More talk today, of course, about the foreign interference in Canadian politics. The Liberal politicians, including the Deputy Prime Minister Chrystia Freeland, when pressed on the issue, still not naming names of members of Parliament who apparently the intelligence services have identified as being politicians who have actually been colluding with foreign actors, foreign governments. What exactly that means, we're not sure, because they're not releasing the names, they're not releasing many of the other details surrounding that. But clearly a national security threat. And today, when asked, Freeland would not indicate, I guess, whether she thought that these members of Parliament should be allowed to run again in the next election. Why are they hiding the information? The response so far from some of the members of the Liberal Party has been that the intelligence services and the government are trying to protect their sources and methods. And I guess if they're saying that if they released these names or revealed who these members of Parliament are, for whatever reason, they're indicating that they might give up or reveal inadvertently or indirectly the way in which they came to know who these members of Parliament are. I'm not even sure if the members of Parliament realize that the government, that the law enforcement authorities, the intelligence services, know who they are. But if they're involved in something improper, illegal, even treasonous, they're probably realizing already that they're on the radar and they've been found out. So I don't know. This is, I think the people need to know now. There's so much spaghetti thrown at the wall that it's time to find out what's actually sticking, and the government needs to pull back the veil so that we can get a good look at the mess that's there. And what have I been saying for a long time? Exactly this very thing. Since like forever, I've been telling you, the problem that we're facing is primarily corruption within the government it's not the government or the system necessarily itself. It's that we have bad actors within government who are being corrupted by foreign money. It isn't necessarily that you have the government that's evil and trying to kill us all. It's that we have bad actors in the government facilitating bad legislation, bad decisions, because they're not acting in the best interests of the country. And they've undermined the system because they're corrupt. And now we're seeing finally that this stuff is coming to light because of the system, but it's taking time. And the Trudeau Liberals seem to be protecting the members of parliament who are corrupt. Now, why would they be doing that? We don't know. We can speculate. I need to deal in facts. So that's what I'm trying to do here, not jump to conclusions. Let's get to the real facts. It's been quite obvious that this is the root of the bulk of the problems in our country here. It has been that way for a long time. And, whether you're talking about, pick your country. And we know that the primary focus of the inquiry into foreign interference has been focused on China. And that's because of all the money that is flowing into the country to capture our institutions, including government institutions, politicians themselves, through campaign contributions, direct and indirect. Maybe they're legal, maybe they're not, but it's certainly having some influence. And, of course, huge amounts of money flowing into universities. You don't think that's having influence? Take a look at what's going on the campus right now at McGill University. Pretty clear that somebody's having some pretty serious influence over there tonight. Now, I'm not saying that's China. I'm not saying it's Russia. I'm not saying, but obviously these are coordinated, well-funded protests, choreographed with NGOs behind it, political groups behind it. These are not just students. We've shown you that. Dragon has shown you that. We've illustrated that here. This is politics that goes beyond Gaza. This is politics that goes to a place of, a much broader, it's much broader in scope than what people realize. This is about Turtle Island. It's about all of Canada. It's about all of North America. Land claims, occupation, identity politics. This is the rise, in many respects, of this new alliance, this new converged partnership between, as we explained the other night, between sort of the Islamo-fascist movement and the communists, or the liberal fascists, the extreme left and the extreme right coming together. And it makes it very hard for people to wrap their heads around it. But that is what you're witnessing on campus there. It isn't just about Palestine. It is about that, but it's about much, much more. And it's playing out in many ways in our society and our government. Open the other eye. Wake up. Understand. And it's not really necessarily about like race or about ethnic issues. It's not necessarily about that. It's about politics. It's anti-capitalism, anti-Western, anti-Canada, anti-USA. It's anti-free market. It's pro-extreme socialism. It's pro-Marxist. That's what's going on those campuses. Make no mistake. I'm telling you. You don't believe me? That's fine. Go do your own research, though. Open that other eye and get fully awake, not just half awake. Folks, with that being said, it is time to wrap it up for tonight. I have some other stuff going on here that's important, still related to what we're doing here on the channel. We're going to have a news meeting with everybody that kind of contributes here tonight. So I'm looking forward to that, meeting with everybody and discussing the future of this very channel. And if you want to support what we do here, if you want to support Maverick News, you can do that by donating at freedomreporters.com. That's the main place to do it. That's the PayPal portal, maverickdonations.com. You can also donate over at GiveSendGo. just by typing in maverickdonations.com. That will take you straight to the Give, Send, Go page. Anybody that contributes $30 or more, just give me your address and the size of T-shirt that you'd like to have, and I'll send you a Maverick News T-shirt. Or tell me you want a Knights of Malta shirt and Exile the Knights of Malta. I'll send you one of those. We also have hoodies, sweatshirts, and embroidered shirts. This isn't the right one. $60 or more, and I'll send you an embroidered shirt. So yeah, and I still have these Batmobiles. With an embroidered shirt, I'll send you a 1/64th scale collectible Hot Wheels Batmobile. I got a few more of those in stock. And please like, share, subscribe. Hit the notification bell if you subscribe over on our YouTube channels. We have several of them over there. And yeah, please subscribe on our Rumble channels as well. 2 of them. Rumble, the main Rumble channel, and Rumble Maverick 2. Please consider subscribing there. And we're on other platforms as well. Twitter, X, CloudHub, Wimkin. We're broadcasting live on Wimkin. Instagram. So look for us on those platforms too. But Rumble's where it's at, man. That's where we need to go. Please subscribe to us on Rumble. It would help us out a lot. Doesn't cost you anything to do that. And I will be back tomorrow night. Thank you, everybody, for joining me and hanging out here with the whole Maverick family. I'll see you guys back here tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, on the flip side.
This has been a Maverick Multimedia production.